All right, welcome into the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick and at 5 Reasons Sports. We've got Jim Rodriguez up on the top left. You can follow him at J Rod Show. We've got Sean Rochester. You can follow him at S Rochester NBA. We're going to talk college basketball today. We got Alejandro Villegas, our producer. We're sponsored here by our friends over at BettorEdge. Go to BettorEdge.com. Use the code 5RSN there. Use code 5RSN. You get $20 to play. This is legal with an L. Peer-to-peer sports betting. You are not betting against a book. It is legal. This is not Costa Rica. This is not you getting like dollars thrown at your door. No, you actually can collect your money from BettorEdge. You can play the tournaments. They're based in Minneapolis. What could be more American than that? So check them out. Go to BettorEdge.com. Use the code 5RSN. Again, peer-to-peer legal sports betting. Find the line that you want. All right. We got 2 games coming up, and we did not expect these games. Okay, now, Sean, you may have expected it a little bit because did you win some pool or something like this?
So I have a little bit of stake in here where I basically have a 30-1 ticket on UConn to not win. Okay. Me and J-Rod have been talking about how to hedge it a little bit. I'm going that route. So I've been working those channels, the marketplace on BettorEdge to accomplish that. But, yeah. I can take down about $1,800 if UConn doesn't win it.
Okay. Wow, look at that. So there you go. All right, but most of the world did not expect this Final Four. Did not expect Miami to be in the Final Four, and certainly did not expect FAU right across from the P.F. Chang's and the J. Alexanders in Boca Raton. They're partying over at the Nordstrom Rack. Off of Glades Road, where you can't even use that exit anymore. That's how close I live to that. My folks live 10 minutes away. I grew up there. I cannot believe that place has a Final Four team in North Carolina, Duke, Indiana, Kentucky, UCLA, all of these other blue bloods. They're all at home watching FAU, which most people get confused with FSU, FIU, UCF, USF, and all the other schools. And yet they're deservedly in the Final Four. They won more than 30 games this year. Yeah. And they're playing in San Diego State. They're a slight underdog in this game. 2 points, I believe. You can find it on BettorEdge, 2, 2.5, 3. It's around there. But they've won legitimate games against legitimate teams. I know they caught a couple of breaks here, J-Rod, but they've been consistently good. They've been good defensively. They've played against a physical team in Tennessee. They won that game. They beat the Darlings from Kansas State. Do they have a chance in this game against San Diego State?
Absolutely. Listen, they were 200-1 to win the tournament when this thing started. And listen, Conference USA is the center of the basketball universe. Listen, did you see the NIT? It was 2 Conference USA teams. So you could have a national champion in the NCAA and in the NIT, both coming out of the powerhouse that is Conference USA. Yeah, it's the Owls +3 with a total of 131.5. And Sean, and Ethan, for me, I like FAU to win the game outright. So I'll definitely take the points because to me, and this is not a knock, but they're almost like a G League team. Like they're deep. They got 4 shooters on the floor at the same time. This team could produce. It's like playing a professional basketball team. They've been together. They don't, there are no ones and dones that go to FAU. Dusty May has got it together, and I think they win the game. And they've caught some breaks. They're playing San Diego State. Listen, I went to Creighton, so don't even begin to tell me about San Diego State. I'm going with the Owls with the Hoot getting the 3 points. Yes, sir.
We get kind of PTSD here following the Heat when you talk about too many G League players on a professional team. So I'd be careful with that. We're going to see Strus and Vincent and Omer running up and down the court. But Sean, do you give them a chance?
Absolutely. I'm not really on one side or the other in terms of the side. I'm more on the total. I think the under is the play. But FAU is live. They've been, they're 3-and-D guards. They have the 2 bigs. What worries me a little bit is San Diego State's super aggressive defensively, very physical. I was not a very big fan of the officiating last weekend with San Diego State. It's like bully ball. It's like 90s Heat Knicks out there with like Keith Askins beating the hell out of you. So I don't know if that's going to sustain this weekend. That's why I'm not picking a side, but I would say the under, which is 131.5. It opened at 132.5. So you can see the money is kind of on that side. If you can get a first half under of 61, maybe an adjustment to that big old dome stadium that they're playing in. I think J-Rod's going to talk about the shooting in that dome with the perception and all that stuff. But I like the under.
Yeah, but the one thing I will say is, like, we've seen the Owls go up against defensive-minded teams in this tournament, and they didn't cave. They don't turn the ball over. Now, that's why I think they're going to win the game outright. And yeah, Sean, this will be the 14th college basketball game that they've played in what used to be Reliance Stadium, now NRG, and the under has hit 8 out of the 13 times. So maybe there is some sort of, it's a bigger stadium, obviously the depth perception, but when you come to Final Four, since they started keeping the stat back in 2005, the under has hit 52% of the time as well in the Final Four, and favorites, that's the only thing I will say, favorites are winning at about a 54% clip on this. But I like the trend to get bucked a little bit. I do like the under, but I like FAU, especially if you're going to give me some points.
All right, so
San Diego State's last 12 games have went under with an average total of 119. So there's a lot of trends. It doesn't always work out, but I like what J-Rod said about FAU. I think they're live, especially on the money line, the value you're going to get there.
Wow, that's 12 straight. That's a lot. All right, so we're looking at the under San Diego State and a strong lean FAU from J-Rod. Seems like a slight lean from Sean here. All right, let's get to the other game here. Again, you can play all this at BettorEdge.com. Use code 5RSN. Also, check out what we've been tweeting from the 5 Reasons account, from the BettorEdge account. Chance to win free money, basically, by just retweeting and following some accounts. So make sure that you check that out. I'm going to put that out again in the morning. Follow the good people over at BettorEdge, and also follow 5 Reasons Sports, S. Rochester NBA, and J-Rod Show. Let's get to Miami, Connecticut. I don't think there's any question that Connecticut is the blue blood of the Final Four here. They've obviously won championships at that school. They've also probably been the best team in the tournament. In terms of, I don't think there's any question. I mean, the margin of victory, they had a rough patch earlier this season, Sean, but they got through it. It felt like that rough patch is kind of what pushed them, out of sort of a top 3 seed situation. But here they are, and they're prohibitive favorites. They're 5.5 to 6 point favorites against Miami, depending on where you look. You can find the line that you want here, but they're prohibitive favorites to win the whole thing. Should they be, and how are they beatable?
Yeah, they're about a 125 favorite to win the whole thing. UConn, obviously, they fit the mold of past champions. If you look at KenPom data, they fit that offensive and defensive rating that usually the champion has. KenPom puts this 80 to 73 UConn. And so, you know what? It's hard because Miami's been doubted every game along the way, right? Drake was supposed to be the 5-12 that beat them. Then it was supposed to be Houston. Then it was supposed to be Texas. Now they're in Houston, Texas, playing UConn, the favorite. It's hard to doubt the Hurricanes. I'm again on the total. I don't know where J-Rod's going to go with the side, if he's going on the side, but I think over. I think Miami can score the ball. UConn can score the ball. Miami has to play a certain way, and I think that's why I lean over 149, thinking that game's going to be like in the 150s most likely.
Yeah, I'm with you. You got to remember, UConn, and you nailed it, Ethan, has come into this tournament peaking. They were a great defensive team, weren't scoring very much. Now they're scoring at a crazy clip, so they've got both the offense and the defense clicking. But Miami, this season, if you have bet on Miami against the number, you have made a fortune. This season, the Hurricanes have covered at a 68% clip. So you're going to give me 6 points? Gosh, I think I want to take the Hurricanes in the 6. I think the over is a sure thing, especially with that spotty Miami defense. But I love the Hurricanes getting 6 points. I think they'll keep it close. I think they'll pull it away. And I think the Huskies will win the game. And remember, we've got 3 teams that this is their first Final Four. So you almost got to wonder how much of that is going to play into it. But with Dan Hurley, we're going to have a meltdown on the sideline. That's also what I'm kind of looking at too.
Well, we might have a dance from Larinaga. I would say this to me. I think the key here is Isaiah Wong. You look at the way. Look, you're not going to get a perfect game from Miller again. Obviously, that was a Leitner game that we just saw. This is one of the great games honestly in South Florida collegiate sports history. Okay, if you just look at what he accomplished, Juan's got to get it going earlier in the game here. It took him a little bit of time against Texas to figure it out. He's actually probably been the worst of the two backcourt mates during the tournament. He hasn't been as consistent, and his game drives me nuts sometimes. I was talking to our guy, Jazz Santana, about that, who follows the Canes. He's herky-jerky. He's all over the place. He doesn't – the shot form is not really there and all the rest of that, but he also can get hot. He needs to get – if you're playing props in this game, I would play him over. I think he's going to take a lot of shots, and to me, he's a big key here. But also, the big guy's got to stay out of foul trouble in this game. We saw that in the last game, and I know, Sean, you tweeted it. If he had picked up the fifth, they probably lose that game. And actually, he did kind of pick up the fifth, and then they reversed it correctly, and that was the key play of the game. Maybe correctly. We'll see. There was a little bit of contact both ways there when he got undercut. He's got to stay out of foul trouble in this game. I like UConn to win but not cover. I'm kind of where J-Rod is on this. I think we're looking at a UConn FAU final, which is just insane if that ends up happening. But that's the way that I would play this. I love FAU's poise. I think that you're right. Nothing has been too big for them in this tournament. They played better teams than San Diego State, in my view, to get here. And so, I think UConn is the best team of the tournament. I think they're going to end up beating the two Florida teams to win. All right, make sure you're betting at BettorEdge.com. Use the code 5RSN. Any final thoughts, Sean or Jim?
I think San Diego State, UConn. I think it's going to be a close game. I think that can go either way. I referenced Ken Pom earlier. He's got that a 1-point game, 67-66 San Diego State. There was a sharp move yesterday. Right Angle Sports put down money and moved the line on San Diego State kind of midday. So the sharps might be on it. But I think FAU, like you said, their resilience, I think I would like to see them win. But like I said, I'm more on the total in that one.
If I were a gambling man, my last thing to say would be Dusty May is about to get paid. So congratulations to Dusty May. I think his days in Boca are limited. He is about to get paid, my friend.
They can't just get him behind one of those gated communities right there, pay off his golf fees, and just let him hang in Boca.
Yeah,
they're renovating the town center mall. They finally got rid of the Sears. I don't understand why he can't just live in Boca a little bit longer. It's not the worst place to be. He
can have a winter. He can have a summer home there. It's okay. He'll be able to afford a couple of homes too.
FAU. You can get to the Final Four from Boca. So why not just stay in Boca? Why do you want to go to someplace in the middle of why do you want to live in Bloomington or something like that when you can live in Boca and you can still get to the Final Four?
I've got millions of reasons why. Millions.
Millions. There's no state tax down here. You know that, all right? Although, the prices
Thank God.
Boca restaurants a little much. If you're eating at Morton's at the mall, then, it gets up there a little bit. So go to Grand Lux. All right, thanks to Sean. We appreciate it. This is the first and last time that I will ever eat Arby's before one of our shows. So just we got the meats. We got the meats. That's gonna back up on me in about an hour. Thanks to Alejandro for producing. Thanks to J-Rod. Thanks to Sean. Go Boca. Go Boca. Mean Streets.